Hi, in this short video you will find out how promises work in JavaScript. What is promise in JavaScript? Promise is just an object which runs a function and optionally telling it which other function to run when it's finished or failed. A promise setup is straightforward. You initialize a promise object, passing a function you'd like to execute asynchronously. If you want to get notified when the function finished its work, you go to the step number 2, defining what would happen when function ends successfully. Step number 3 will be done automatically by JavaScript just after the function has finished. The real power of promises lies in the world of asynchronous code, network requests, file operations, timers, and various event handlers. What do these have in common? They all involve tasks that take an unknown amount of time to complete. That's why we don't want to block the execution of the rest of the code. Meet the promises. Everything starts with promise object initialization. We pass a function to run as a parameter, then we define this function itself. For simplicity, we just console log function started and function finished. Also, we add two console logs. First one, program started, and second one, program finished, just after the promise. When we run the code, we can see that everything works as expected. Program started, function started, and so on. Let's improve our code. Let's add two parameters to the function to run, resolve and reject. In order to write event handler, we use then and include this event handler with just console log resolve. Let's run the code. Nothing changes. Why? Because we forgot to run resolve explicitly. That is the required part. This time, resolve is okay. Okay, let's improve our code and reject. First of all, we need to mention that resolve doesn't stop the function. It just informs the promise that it resolved. Now let's use reject. In order to declare event handler for reject, we use catch and inform the console that error happens. Run, and then we can see that error. Why? Because we ran reject. That's why catch is working. Also, we can pass a parameter from reject to catch part. New error, e is parameter, and e to string just convert error to string and outputs it. Now let's have a look at another example which starts a timer for 1 second and after time is elapsed outputs the message. We create a promise object. Again, we create a function which takes two parameters, resolve and reject. We create a timer, set timeout, a new function which just resolve, and timeout is 1000. Add some of the event handlers, then console log and resolved in 1 second. Run the code and we will see that after 1 second the output string is outputted. This time we can revise how to send a message or object from running function to the successful fail event handler. So in order to pass an parameter, then we need to resolve and use the object or string as a parameter. Then we use it in then part. Time is over. Now let's talk about async await keywords as a syntactic simplification of promise. First, we need to add keywords async to functions header and add a wait in the place we want to wait for a function to finish. After that, we get a result in the variable. So resolve reject as usual, then set timeout function to be called. We just resolve and 1 as an argument to then, and after 1 second this result will be at the same variable result, and we output this variable start, and 1 is in the console. Now let's have a look to how two asynchronous functions can be executed step by step. Assume the first function returns first arguments for add operation, and the second function returns second arguments to the same operation. Await allows us to retrieve them one by one. As usual, let's define a promise, send resolve as a parameter, initialize a timer, and resolve 2 as a first argument. This first argument will be put to a variable. Let's do the same. Just after we get a, we try to get b, which is 5 actually, but after 2 seconds. When we have two variables values, then we can calculate the sum. After that, run add, run the code, and after 3 seconds we get sum equals to 7. Now, time to use JavaScript async await as a part of an HTML page. Assume we want to add numbers retrieved one by one somewhere from the web. Here, I used well-known JSON placeholder service, which returns a block item. I got 2 of them and adds their ID values, just as in the example. When we run the code, we got 3. Everything works as expected, step by step. In this final part of the video, I'd like to ask you what the output of the following code would be. Please share your answer in the comments below the video. That's it for today. Happy coding, guys!